of you who don't know me, my name is Susan Wurzelbacher, and I'm going to give you speech number one. Speech number one is kind of the no pressure speech, because we get to talk about the one thing everyone loves to talk about the most, ourselves. Today, instead of going in that direction though, I'm going to give you a theory that I have, and I'll tie it back in with myself. And that theory is bicycles. About 10 years ago, I started to ask people, what's your bicycle story? What's your bicycle story? Do you know everyone has a bicycle story? Even people that have never learned to ride a bicycle, think about it. That is so uncommon in this country that is a story in and of itself. And it could be a tumble. I mean, we've all taken a spill off of a bicycle, haven't we? Doesn't have to be. One of my favorite bicycle stories, and I have heard a lot of them in the past 10 years, was a good friend of mine who rode his bicycle from Vancouver to Marblehead. And that's a great story, but that's not his bicycle story. His bicycle story was actually from when he was a young boy, and it was how he acquired a bicycle that he wanted that was in a storefront that he did not have enough money to purchase. And what I found as I asked people their bicycle stories was there was a common feature. My response to my friends' bicycle stories was always the same. That is so you. And that's when I discovered that there is something intrinsic to a person's bicycle story that applies to their life. And if you knew Jean-Marc, you would know that the same way that he acquired that bicycle that was in that storefront is how the universe has bent to give him anything he has put his mind to. So I'm going to share my bicycle story with you guys. I was 7 years old. Oh, man. My driveway was long, but it had too many hills for it to be fun for a 7-year-old to pedal up the whole way. So instead, I'm at my neighbor's, and his driveway is fantastic. It is long and straight, and it's lined with pine needles and trees and some of these 50-foot wooden telephone poles. And at one end, there is a very private, narrow street. But at the other end, by the house, it opens into a cul-de-sac. And to a 7-year-old on a bicycle, a cul-de-sac means one thing, that you don't have to slow down to turn around. And I had so much momentum when I came out of that cul-de-sac. I was going so fast. You know that speed where you're going so fast that your legs, no matter how fast you move them, cannot catch the pedals? I had done this so many times. I mean, I was really familiar with this. And I knew that at the end, I was going to have to stop in order to turn around. That's how narrow that street was. But that was so far away. I was not worried about that. My only concern was how fast I was going. And I had done this so often that I actually anticipated the sound of the gravel that was going to crunch under my front tire. And when I heard it, I looked down at the gravel and at my feet that could not keep up with the pedals. And suddenly, I wasn't moving anymore. I was still on the bicycle. The bicycle and I were upright, but we weren't moving anymore. I hit one of those 50-foot wooden telephone poles. And the thing is, I sat there with my feet off the ground on this bicycle, and the bicycle didn't even wobble. And the whole time I'm sitting there shocked that this even happened to me because I'd done this so many times. It didn't occur to me in my state of shock that I just defied the laws of physics. I was going so fast that I should have flipped over those handlebars. If anything, I should have fallen over. An object that is in motion should stay in motion. Now, eventually, I did get off the bicycle and I let it fall to the ground. And I couldn't explain it that day, and I couldn't explain it for many years to come. But that hit cracked that telephone pole. And if you're skeptical, which I would absolutely be skeptical of this, that telephone pole is still there, and it is now leaning 20 years after the compromise. And when I tell this story to my friends, I always get the same response. Susan, that is so you. Thank you.